One of these days we can say, oh, that Innu woman delivered me, and I wish my daughter, when she's born, I wish she could say that too, but unfortunately we don't have any Innu midwives at the moment. But in the future, the future mom, when they deliver their babies, hopefully their kids could say that Innu woman delivered me.
Being able to communicate with the midwives in their own language. They're able to ask questions in their own language. Most of the people here, English is a second language, as I am. Sometimes there's no words of what you want to ask, because even when you're translating, there's no medical terminology in Innu. You gotta tell a story to get the message across of what the doctors or the health professionals are asking. And you can, it's really different to communicate in Innu than in English. The opportunities for the mothers that they have here with the Innu midwives, they're able to talk in their language. That's very important.
This is where it all started with Innu Midwifery at the little beach house in Northwest River. We really enjoyed the first year here, and it was a great beginning. And of course, it was awesome to be so close to the beach. And we are still renting this house, but now we are renting it for midwifery staff and registered midwives for when they come here and work with us. So they have a steady place where they can stay, and it's not far to work either.
Going through labor and giving birth is so special, and these women should be heard, and it should be a special moment between the parents and the mom, the families. Having to hear the women is number one. We can have Innu babies be born into the Innu communities again. And that day will come again. I'm just waiting for that to happen. This is our future. This is the future for our communities. And then when it was time to have students, it was just like, okay, it's getting real. We're getting to the process where, we'll have midwives come here and teach the students. And so it's an amazing feeling, and very grateful that, everybody was able to come together and make it happen for our communities.
Thea gave birth in a traditional Innu tent and was very interested in returning Innu midwives to Innu communities in Labrador. We've been working on this project since 2017-18, and we are just about getting ready to start clinical midwifery practice, and we are bringing registered midwives in who will help with the clinical teaching of the students and also provide care. Midwifery globally has demonstrated safety with large home birth studies, and in hospital that midwifery care has safe and improved outcomes. So therefore I think that indigenous midwifery is very suitable for Innu communities. And last year we moved onto the reserve, and we are just behind the Innu Roundtable Secretariat. We are doing classroom teaching here. We are doing all kinds of supports for the community as well. We started a menstrual products project by which Innu communities and organizations and individuals can pick up products as they wish. We have started a baby bundle project where Innu women and families can pick up a baby bundle with all the necessities when they give birth. Last summer, the Innu student midwives also completed their doula training, and they have started providing some non-clinical support services as well to Innu women in the communities. For emergency services, midwives today provide care both in the community and many births will also take in hospital.
I feel like midwifery came to me than anything in my life. So happy to be able to serve my community and my people, normalize midwifery in our community and in Labrador.
Because right now we're just, there's no births in communities and there's no celebration of life here in the community. So bringing midwives back means we're going to give births.
Working with the Labrador campus at the Bachelor of Nursing program and the simulation lab has been an amazing opportunity for us, for the Innu Midwifery program, to practice in the simulation lab. We have an agreement with Memorial University and are really thankful to be utilizing the simulation lab and the support we have received from the staff here. And so it's been a really great opportunity. We typically go once a week here to the sim lab and try to do some simulations and practical learning applications from the theories and the classroom teaching. And occasionally we also have collaborative sessions with the Bachelor of Nursing program and the students there, and that has been a great learning opportunity. So we're very pleased with that, and I think the students enjoy it as well. And this has been extremely helpful to put into practice what's been learned in the classroom.
I'm Kelly Monahan, and I'm the physician here in St. John's. I own Clinic 215, which is a reproductive health clinic. I also practice low-risk obstetrics. Late to life doctor. I went to medical school when I was 37 after having my own kids. And so my third and fourth children were born at home with midwives. The fourth with two midwives, one who had worked in Labrador, and the other I flew in from Halifax that had recently legislated midwifery. I aim, aspire to practice like a midwife, although the medical model doesn't lend itself well to that. You know, it's punitive financially to actually spend time with people. I was excited to meet Gisela's very experienced midwife from Germany who's worked in Northern Canada, and she is just awesome. So, of course, we connected through our love of midwifery and our desire to see it roll out through the province. You know, the cost that could never be dollar and cents, but the cost of the burden that it is to remove someone from their community and what that does to their family and how that changes their birth experience without their support structures. Birth is a communal event. One of my favorite things, Penny Simpkin, a North American similar woman advocate, she has this publication about the 3 R's, the relaxation, rhythm, and ritual. You know, that's even my experience with midwives. You know, I like the expression that every woman who gives birth should feel like a goddess. And if she isn't and doesn't, somebody's not doing their job. And I think midwifery is the key to that. Meeting people where they're at, non-judgmental, culturally appropriate care, high quality interactions that can change the world, one baby and one family at a time. You know, it is exceptional, and we need to advance this agenda immediately.
I've been practicing as a midwife for 10 years, and in that 10 years, it has been a dream of mine to try to expand care into community. So coming here and walking into the space that's been created, it feels like you guys are doing the things that I think so many of us have been dreaming would come to fruition for many, many years, and that we thought never maybe would in our lifetime. So to walk in and, I show up with my suitcase of supplies that I thought you may need, and just seeing all the things that you already have is really beautiful. And that's what I'd like to see, is all these similar programs popping up in communities across Canada. I think every community needs a program like this. Yeah, so that's what it means to me, and I'm just so grateful to be here.
So the National Council of Indigenous Midwives' vision is to have an Indigenous midwife in every Indigenous community across Canada. Being so successful, the things that are happening here and the people who are in place and the progress that is happening, this is a national movement. Indigenous communities are desperate for midwifery, and even though midwifery seems to be in the bottom drawer priorities for everybody else provincially and federally, in Indigenous communities it's top priority. And unfortunately, there's a lot of bureaucratic policies that are really hindering that progress. And so we need people to step aside, and we need people to say, do what you need to do, and we'll make mountains move to make this work. Because as long as we continue to force our women to give birth in hospitals, or to not have midwifery care or culturally safe care, we will continue to see the massive harms that we see amongst our people. Our diabetes rates are really high, our infant mortality rates are 3 times higher than the rest of the Canadian population. We have high childhood diabetes rates, the list goes on and on. We have the highest apprehension rates of Indigenous people across, globally in this country, and it's not okay, and we're not happy. And we all want to stand up, and we all want to make these changes, and so we're trying, and that's what we're doing here, and that's what we're seeing happen here in this community with this Innu Midwifery program. And it's amazing to watch, because every single woman who comes into this program will be impacted, and that baby will be impacted, and the community will be impacted, and wellness starts at the beginning.
As Indigenous people, one of our superpowers is we laugh through the pain, we transmute the pain, we alchemize it, and that's who we are. And if people were trained in that type of cultural awareness, they would know, just because she's laughing, let's just stay close to her and support her anyway. Just because she's laughing doesn't mean she's nowhere near ready to have this baby. So that's the kind of things that, for me being an Indigenous birth doula, I'm aware of those. I'm very aware, and so it's a blessing to do this work, and we need more doulas, we need more Indigenous midwives and people who are caring about the Indigenous culture. Even if you're not that, but if you deeply care, we welcome you, we need you, and we need your support, and we're grateful for it.
From Indigenous Services Canada or federal government perspective, the recognition how important it is to bring care closer to home, for it to be culturally safe. I think so important. From the beginning, they realized that they wanted to have birth back in community, and it's just been so beautiful to watch a community vision come to life. And for me, as a government employee, it's very easy for me to go to tables and explain what the Innu are doing. The vision is clear. I always say Innu babies born into Innu hands on Innu lands. And for that to happen, the Innu realized that we need to do this, and we need to do this now so we don't lose this knowledge, because in other parts of Canada and other parts of Atlantic Canada, that memory it's there, but not as strong as it is with the Innu. And I think that's probably what has really been the impetus to drive things at the speed that you are working, and because it comes from that community support, which is so important. The community's leadership support as well has been phenomenal to see, from a very small spark to a much larger initiative, and the whole way having this very clear vision. They're moving at a very fast pace, I think, in comparison to other things that are happening across the country, and everybody is looking to them. So, being here for these couple of days and seeing some nurses and birth workers from across Atlantic Canada being able to be here and see this in person, that's been an honor. I think Gisela said earlier, it's like you're part of the family. It really does feel like family here, and it's hugging and smiles. And I acknowledge that there are difficulties, but everything is always done with poise and grace and immense passion.
Thea Penashue, she was a traditional midwife. She passed away, but she was, at the beginning of this program, she was our big advocate on bringing midwifery back, and we had her speak at information sessions to talk about her experiences and what she remembers when she would catch babies in the country. And one of the people that attended the information sessions said, Nesa delivered me in the country. And I thought that was amazing to have them both in the same room, the traditional midwife and a woman that was delivered by Thea Penashue in the country. And I thought that's a story I think I'll hold on to, that I'll never forget, that I always talk about it. And my daughter was born in the tent almost 5 years ago now, and I named her after my great aunt, Thea Penashue. My daughter's name is Nisha as well.